It was either in the very late 60s or early 70s that the Beatles, the Fab Four from over there in London town, cut a sound record called Back in the USSR. Back in the USSR. You don't know how lucky you are, boy. Back in the US, back in the US, back in the USSR. And it was a pretty popular tune, by the way. Flying in on a Boeing 707, back in the US, back in the US, back in the USSR. So I want to call this, label this segment of the Manning Report today, Back in the USSR. And actually what Vladimir Putin is trying to do, which needs to be, I think, elongated and expressed more by those people in the media, is that Putin is trying to put together the band again. He's trying to put the USSR back together again. As far as Putin is concerned, the most traumatic thing that has happened politically in the last 200 years was the dissolution of the Soviet Republic. And that's what it is, the United States of the Soviet Republic. And he wants to put it back together again. And Ukraine is a great prize. If he puts Ukraine back together, Uzbekistan and Moldova and the other parts of the Soviet Union that have become satellites around Russia will immediately lay down their arms. Now, this is my estimation. I'm not un-American. I'm not a hater. I love America. I was born in America. Don't call me African. Don't call me American. I'm a flag-waving, apple pie eating, take me out to the ball game. I'll sing the national anthem, God Bless America. Let's be clear about that. And I'm not pro-Russia either. I'm not for them. I've already told you that what my God has told me is that Russia is the beast prophesied in the Bible as Gog in the latter day. But here, can I say something to you? If Putin, whatever it's going to cost him in terms of lives and actual resources, can take Ukraine, all the other nations that were part of the Soviet Union, Belarus is already in the basket. But if Putin can take Ukraine, his plan is this: take Ukraine, and the other nations that were part of the Soviet Union are going to gladly come back and kiss Putin's ring, and you'll be back in the USSR again. He won't have to fight the battle of Uzbekistan. He won't have to fight those battles. They will come, and not only that, but once they come in, now this is what I see. And once the former Soviet Union congeals again, after they see the routing and the devastation of Ukraine, they're going to willingly say, we'll come back and be a part of the Soviet Republic again. And nations like Hungary and Poland that were not a part of the Soviet Union will also have to bow down and say, we're not going to fight because now you're stronger with the Soviet Republic. You've returned to the days of Nikita Khrushchev and Stalin. That's what I see him doing. All this business about Putin retreating and that, somehow or another he's running out of resources. Maybe so, I don't, but I can tell you what his aim is. Ukraine was second to power to Russia itself in terms of the Soviet Republic. And of course, if Ukraine falls, everybody else will just get in line. Everybody else that was once a part that made up the Stalin, the Khrushchev, part of the, Boris Yeltsin, part of the Soviet Republic, will just come back and say, yes, sir, Daddy Putin. Yes, sir, Daddy Putin. We're back in the USSR again. And so I wanted to be able to express that. Because if that happens, then America can forget it. If that happens, all of Europe will be under Putin's thumb. They'll be calling, in Germany, they'll be saying Daddy Putin. And France as well, Spain, Finland, everybody, once that happens. So that's Putin's aim. Is it going to be successful? I don't know. According to the Bible, he is. If not him, somebody else worse than him. But, I want to say something else. And again, I'm not un-American, and I've watched the horrors. I know that there's an information war. Alex Jones got a thing called InfoWars, right? Actually, that's short for information wars. It was a brilliance that Alex Jones came up with this idea of information wars. They understand that these media outlets are at war in presenting their brand of information. And we've got two racist, if you will, networks. Well, we got Fox all out there by itself, representing Japheth interests, and then you got MSNBC, CBS, and CNN, and the Washington Post and everybody else represent. Well, you got representing the Hamite people. But having said that, what's happening in Bucha, I believe, is real. The atrocities, the deaths, the shot with their hands behind their backs, the mass graves. I believe it. Yeah, I believe it. The problem is that I don't know. I don't know if the people that are dead are Russians or whether they're Ukrainians or not. What do you mean by that? Again, I'm not un-American. I'm an apple pie eating, flag waving. I love a God bless America. I want y'all to know that. But I'm not sure we're getting the truth. I can tell you this. Here, can I be a little, say, Pastor Man, you always getting personal on us. I promise not to inflict my personal on you anymore after this. Let me tell you something. The information that has been put out on me personally, James David Manning, the lies, the false information, the labeling of a hate person. They've gone through the universities, they've gone through the courts, they've gone through the media cycles, and they have put information out on me in the boys' room, in the little boys' room, in the hotels. They put information out on me to destroy me. There's been an information war campaign against ATLAH, against James David Manning that won't quit. That's right. And it's all lies, all set to defeat me. So you have to realize I've been burnt by the powers that be that put out information. And I don't know, the information that you see on CNN, the MSNBC, are being reported in the Times or in, the Washington Post. Maybe those dead people are dead people. But there might be Russian soldiers that were shot and they were put on civilian clothes and somebody tied a rag around their hand. I don't know. All I know is that we got some vicious people in the media that know how to wage an information campaign. And that's what I think. But the other thing I think is very important, everybody jumping up and down, and if it's true that they're Ukrainians and I mourn with them, as far as I can go, let the will of God be done. Devastating. My problem also is this, is that when I see the tanks, I saw one tank on top of another tank. Why would anybody do that? Then the tanks that are destroyed, these Javelin missiles, they are bad mamma jammers, no doubt about that. But it looks like when they hit the tank, they burn the paint off the tank. It leaves it rusty, looking like it's been sitting out in the rain for like 4 or 5 years. These tanks look like they pulled them up from World War II. So a Javelin missile hits the tank and knocks the thing down. These tanks look like something from World War II, that they found them in, some graveyard with Hitler or something. They don't look like they were just hit 5 days ago. I'm having problems trying to, and then they take the backs off of cars. What is this? Is this, the images we're being seen on MSNBC and even Fox News? I don't trust these people. You say, well, Pastor Manning, we're going to give you a break because we know they put out bad information. They're still running information on you up and down, the wazoo on you to try to get people to turn against you, try to defeat you. So we're going to give you a break. We're going to let you go ahead and talk. Thank you. So, much obliged. Thank you so very much. One other thing, and I promise not to inflict myself upon you any further. However, it's awful what's happening. I think what we're going to see in Mariupol is going to be a whole lot worse. But, there was a time back in the 90s called Rwanda. Mm-hmm. And the Hutus and the Tutsis, y'all remember that? Bill, I didn't have sex with that woman, Clinton. And 1 million people died in Rwanda. I mean, it was covered on the news, but not like this thing is being covered. So I'm trying to ask them, the media, CNN was there. They didn't go to Rwanda, and, they weren't there with the, and this went on for a month. The Hutus killing the Tutsis, right? I don't remember seeing any cameramen, any Clarissa Wards and all these other people. I don't remember George Bernard Shaw putting on a flap jacket and going over to Rwanda and, hiding out with the people and watching they just said, well, 10,000 people died today of the Hutus, the Tutsis. 10,000 were killed today. And then they go on and start talking about something else, about Marilyn Monroe. So I don't know what they're talking about. So I'm trying to figure out, well, man, maybe there's a little racism on this information war business that they got going on. And I'm very much in about 78. But the other thing is that, over 100,000 Iraqis died while George Bush went into Iraq, looking for weapons of mass destruction. Now, again, I'm not un-American. Pastor Manny, you just un-American. You just like all them other black people. All y'all black people looking like all y'all the same. Y'all just against America. Well, hold it, man. Hold it. I just told you. I'm on a flag waving, apple pie eating, take me out to the ball game. I don't even go for that African American stuff. But I have to tell you, 100,000 Iraqis died when George Bush went over there looking for Saddam Hussein's weapons of mass destruction. Did George Bush kill Saddam Hussein? Well, have, the court trial and then killed his 2 sons and everybody ran his wives out of town. All that was legit. And America got some nerve, talking about what Putin is doing. Pull down the statue of Saddam Hussein in the Iraqi square, And then the other thing is that the fact that they did that, and then there were no weapons of mass destruction found, and then they went into Afghanistan doing a whole lot more killing than and I've tried to express that it appears that people report the news the way whose side they're on. But after Rwanda, there was Uganda, and with Idi Amin, before Rwanda, pardon me. Finally, I'm through. Can I just share this with you? I said I wasn't going to put no more personal stuff on you. Okay. I wasn't fully forthcoming. I got one more, right? Just one more, and then that's going to be it. That'll be it. Full stop. No more personal stuff. But can I say to you that I see what Putin wants to do. He wants to, if he takes down if he takes down Ukraine, then he's going to put the band back together again. He's going to put the Soviet Union back together again, just like that. Everybody going to say, yes, sir, Daddy Putin. But, what they're doing up here in Harlem. Now, I realize that you probably say, well, Pastor Man, those, 4 million people have fled Ukraine and, they're killing grandmas and bombing nurseries and got one pregnant woman coming out the maternity. I say, yeah, okay. But what they're doing here in Harlem, what the gentrifiers are doing here is no less merciless than what I see Putin doing. Now, I know maybe the death tolls, we don't know what the death tolls are of the people that have died as a result of them being pushed out of their apartments here in Harlem. A woman told me many years ago, about 25 years ago, she said, Pastor Manning, she said, I used to be afraid to be out on the streets in Harlem at night because I know somebody, crackhead going to hit me, rob me, rape me, But she said, Pastor, the gentrifiers, the white people have come up here to Harlem. And she said, I'm now scared inside of my apartment because ultimately they're going to push me out, jack up the rent, and I'm going to have to go back to South Carolina or someplace else to live because I'm on a fixed income and there ain't no way. And they've been cleaning out the buildings. They've been stopping water services. They've been not turning on the heat in the wintertime to get us out of our rent control apartments. And Pastor says it's been several major winters where we've had no heat, no electricity. The ceilings are falling. The place is falling apart. And because they want us out so they can renovate the building, what I see happening in Ukraine, I've seen happen every day here in Harlem. I see the same brutality, the same mentality of just running over the lives of people. And how many people have died because they thought they were going to be able to live in Harlem for the rest of their lives? They work for Macy's, or they work for Gimbel's, or they work for Horn and Hardart, if y'all go back that far. And, they retired, a little over the pension, and they thought they could spend the rest of their days in Harlem, the place that they love so much. But the white man, the gentrifier, came up here with his banks, his lawyers, and with his bought out, sold out, pinch nose, community board members, and they pushed the people to death. Shelters. You got more people living in shelters than you got people sleeping on the streets here in Harlem. Unprecedented. So, when I look at what's happening in Ukraine, I'm not, I understand. I'm a human being. I'm a humanitarian. But I have to tell you, I can't get indignant because of what I see the same white people doing right here in Harlem to poor people. And they're using the pinch-nosed Negro, paying them off, the sellout, like David Dinkins. Al Sharpton got paid $800,000 after Freddie's fire. Al Sharpton got paid $800,000 by a group of Jewish bankers and to commit to never lead a march against gentrification here in Harlem. And so I want you to know that this kind of stuff goes on. What's going on in Ukraine is going on right here in Harlem as far as I'm concerned. You can judge whether or not it has the same intensity, but the pain is still the same. And I have to tell you that it ain't over with. God is going to have his say about Ukraine, and God is going to have his say about the gentrifier and about what has happened to Harlem, and everybody that has assisted in the death and the chasing the poor people out of Harlem. God's going to have his say. I want you to know that. God is going to have his say. And Lord have mercy. If the people, the Hamite people, the righteous Shemite and the righteous Japheth people ever wake up and recognize what's happening in Ukraine has already happened in Harlem. And I'm willing to go out and say more people have died because of gentrification here in Harlem. Forget about Fort Greene and Bed-Stuy or in Philadelphia or Chicago. More people have died because of gentrification in Harlem that have died, so far as I can count, in all of Ukraine. So, you can figure where you want it. You can look at it any way you want. But God is going to have his say. He is not going to leave himself without a witness. God is going to have his say both about Ukraine and about Harlem, that he is named ATLAH. And I'm going to remain faithful. I am. They put out disinformation on me every which kind of way you want to look, and probably there'll be more. But I'm going to remain faithful till I see Jesus, till I see him, and till I see the people and the oppression and the robbery of Harlem will end, and ATLAH shall come. I'm James David Manning, everybody. I am indeed the Lord's servant.